Hey, check it. Hey, check it. Put the place up.
All right. Welcome in, boys. This is week 9. This season is going fast. But before we move on to the podcast, I felt obligated to weigh in on a serious controversy. Most of you know it is November 1st, and for some people, November 1st marks the first day of Christmas. The lights going up, the trees. Others say, slow your roll. We need to eat our turkey first. Well, let me weigh in on that controversy by letting you hear this. All right, listen to those sleigh bells. We are a pro early decoration podcast. My Christmas trees will be going up by the end of the weekend. We do this every year. I don't know why you are anti-early decorations. I mean, why can't you eat a turkey next to a Christmas tree? Sounds pretty good to me. So those decorations will be going up soon. All right, moving on. Week 8, I moved in saying, hey, I'm 6-1. I am faux perfect season because I flip-flopped on my one loss. I mean, this is fantastic, but after week 8, I am 6-2 with a big loss. I had Andre winning this past week, but TJ came in and set a record. I verified it. He scored the most points ever with 234 points in a single game, which sounds impressive until you look at his bench and realize he made a bunch of bad decisions and left 40 points on the bench, meaning he could have scored dang near 300 points, easily the best week ever. So I'm going to chalk that up as a loss, but if I got to do a little bit of a victory lap, I did say that TJ's combo or stack of Dak and CD was sexy. Said it would be good, and I did say that C-Mac was good for 20 every week, and he was always going to have that. What I didn't have was the 3 of them scoring 110 points. I also had him saying, look, Michael Mayer gets the Halloween bump, maybe, but I don't think so. You got to drop that guy and pick up a free agent. Well, he did, and he picked up Trey McBride, who went for 25, the rookie, in his first big game of the season. Threw a dart, and it hit a bullseye. So while TJ had a great week, and I thought he might be okay, and Dre might pull it off, he far outkicked my expectations. So I will take it as a loss where I missed. I totally missed on Baltimore. I had Andre with an edge because I thought Lamar would throw it to Zay and he would have a big week. But he didn't. I mean, Lamar continues to be what I predicted him to be in the preseason. He is a boom-bust quarterback at best. He'll score you 40 or he'll score you 12. So he busted like a porn star this week. I can't say that I am a Lamar fan. Just, he's okay. I did love Dre's wide receiver matchups this past week. I did not think that his wide receivers were better than TJ's. I just thought they had great matchups, and he might actually get an advantage there, and that is where I thought he had the edge. However, not only did Lamar let me down throwing to Zay, his whole core let me down. All 3 of them combined for 30 points. Ouch. That's a swing and a miss. I thought Christian Kirk had a lot of stats going for him. I thought T-Law could get going, but the offense just runs through ETN and Jacksonville, and if you think otherwise at this point, I might venture out and just call you an idiot because it's just super clear at this point that the team is running through ETN. So, all that being said, while I might take a mini victory lap on a couple calls, it is a mini victory lap. It is a walk not around the block, but around the coffee table. So I will take this up as a loss for the commish this week. Moving on. All right, this week's preview, week 9, we have tanked up Chad, 4-4, versus I swear I don't chase young kids. Max. Max is 2-6. Max needs a win to stay in it. Frank had a 7-loss record and made the playoffs last year and famously won the championship. So not the end of the world if he gets a loss this week, but he could really use a win. Chad, however, is in a 3-way tie for second place in his division and could use not only a win, but could use some big points to move up in the standings. He is behind in the point total, so he is kind of towing the line for that, middle of the road, maybe last spot in the playoffs if he has some losses, so he really does need a win. So let's move on to the preview. Quarterbacks. Chad has Daniel Jones versus Las Vegas and CJ Stroud versus the Bucks. Max has Zach Wilson versus the Chargers. Jordan Love versus the Rams. So TJ gets an obvious advantage with Mahomes. I mean, the guy is a beast. I think he's going to totally kill it this week. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Let me check. Well, nope. Hold on. TJ must have him on his bench. He must have put him there on accident. Oh, nope. That's right. Mahomes is no longer on Chad's team. He traded Mahomes' Kermit ass away. Casey hating league for the win. That is right. He got rid of that bum Mahomes. He is gone. Chad exorcised the demons. Mahomes wins. No. Trade his ass away. Daniel Jones better than Mahomes this week. That's an easy call. Our boy Danny Dimes gets it done versus Las Vegas. Tyrod who? Danny Dimes outperforms Mahomes this week. Now, CJ Stroud, his second quarterback, has been on an absolute tear. He is just the gem of this rookie class. Carolina has to regret passing on him. His wide receivers may not be household names, but they have been serviceable. Nico looks like a great deep target. Tank Dell, a short area guy. They seem to complement each other along with Schultz. So, I think the Bucs is a defense that has given up the third most passing yards this year. So I think Stroud should continue to be a draft day steal. I think some have some interpretation. Is that the right word? But anyway, have some concerns with him coming off a 140-yard passing game this past week. But I think he's going to be fine. I think he's been solid, and I don't imagine their winning goes through the running game, as Dameon Pierce has just not been very good. So, moving on to Max. Now, he might be starting Zach Wilson, who looks like a man-child and is easy to make fun of for sure. But this Stifler mom-seducing man is on a 3-game win streak in New York. Now, maybe he doesn't get the most fantasy points per game, and he might not blow up, but he also isn't totally pooping the bed. So, I think he could get 15 to 20. I think they're going to have to score. I think it's going to go through Garrett Wilson. Not calling him for a big game, but I don't think he gets 8 points either. Love is another story. Jordan Love started off throwing 6 TDs and 0 interceptions, looking like he was going to be the heir apparent to Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre and just keep the tradition going in Green Bay. Since then, he has fallen apart. He has 5 TDs and 8 interceptions. It is just not good. The ceiling here, I think, is like 200 yards and 1 touchdown. If he gets 2 touchdowns, I think that means he's throwing a lot, and that means he throws a pick. So I think the ceiling is definitely capped as the team is going to look to get Aaron Jones going, and maybe A.J. Dillon. We'll talk about that later. So the edge here definitely goes to Chad. But I think Max could take the lead in this position if Daniel Jones bombs, which, well, let's face it, that's not entirely impossible. All right, moving on to the tight end in the flex, so a little out of order, but tight end in the flex, Hunter Henry and James Cook for Chad. Hunter Henry gets Washington, James Cook gets Cincinnati. Max gets Kelsey versus Miami, and he is going with OBJ versus Seattle. Start with Chad. Henry? Chad. Buddy. Hunter Henry? It's not preseason, man. In the past 3 weeks, he has a total of 10 points combined. Not 10 weeks, 10 points a week, 10 points combined. Like, hit the waiver wire. I have got 2 tight ends. Both I will trade you for damn near nothing, for nothing, and that are better than Hunter Henry. This is just a bad start. I don't imagine this guy is starting come Sunday for Chad. James Cook. Now, while some have a different opinion than me, I have said since the preseason that he has no path to being significant. I said he would not get goal line work. He hasn't. They signed an off-the-couch veteran, quote-unquote, I will call him an old man, in Latavius Murray, to take that away from him. I said the Bills don't pass to their running backs. They really haven't. Now, I'll admit that Cook is on a higher pace than expected, but that's still 40 passes, like 40 receptions. This is not great. Like, I just don't see a path for Cook. I never have. I don't see it now. They signed Fournette. I'm not a fan. Now, look, could he possibly score against a bad defense? Sure, but I am not predicting that. So I'm going to move on to Max, get OBJ. OBJ clearly in his prime, going to salsa dance his way into Sam Laporta's heart. It is going to make Frank jealous. There is going to be a love triangle. We are about to see some serious Kardashian-level drama in this league. Like, every week, it's going to be Frank, OBJ, Laporta, love triangle. What do we do? Who are we starting? Okay, none of that's true. OBJ's trash. He is hurt. He is not good. He has not been good. Max, just start Hubbard. He's clearly better than OBJ. He probably have more receptions than OBJ. No. OBJ is not good. I would cut him and start almost anyone off the waiver wire over OBJ. Not a fan pretty clearly of OBJ, but am a fan of an OBJ Frank Laporta love triangle. Frank, pick this guy up if he's available. Moving on. Doesn't really matter what the other 3 analyses are, because Max brings the biggest dog to the table. He brings the Swifties. I mean, the Swifties just come in droves, and Kelsey, a.k.a. Swiftie, gets to play in the highest over-under game of the week. Whether or not you feel that Xavier Howard and Ramsey, both finally playing for Miami, could hinder him, he still gets the highest over-under. So he should be a clear advantage. And I would point out that Miami is terrible at covering tight ends. Miami has been terrible at covering tight ends for at least 3 years. I don't imagine any scenario that Kelsey doesn't get at least 20 points this week. He might push 30. So I give Max a clear advantage here, but would be curious to see where these teams end up come game day with some of the start-sit decisions that they'll have to make. Moving on to running backs, Chad gets Hunt versus Zona and Pollard versus Philly, where Max gets A.J. Dillon and Gus Edwards versus the Rams and Seattle. Not a matchup of the Titans here for sure. We'll start off with Hunt. Well, he's had a few decent games in a row. He can put those in his back pocket. Those have been without Ford. Hunt has been inefficient. He's been bad. He has not cracked 55 yards in a single game. He has been TD dependent, just getting that TD deodorant every week, which is fine. That has been fine for 3 weeks, but Ford is back, and I don't see any scenario where Ford is just not rubbing his pits with TDs. I mean, he's going to have that TD deodorant every week. And I think, frankly, Ford is a much better runner than Hunt, which would also explain why Hunt was a free agent for half the year and only came back because of injury. I mean, Cleveland chose Ford when free agency came around. I don't see why they wouldn't continue to do so. So I do not think that Hunt is a very good start. I think he bombs. Maybe he is not better than a free agent pickup, but I don't think he's much better than that. So moving on to Pollard. Look, I remember when I was old enough to be saying that Pollard needed Zeke because if he got the workload, he'd end up like Lamar Miller. That's right, Lamar Miller, who was great for the Dolphins in spurts, but they had a whole free Lamar Miller campaign saying that he needed the workload. And then he got traded to the Texans, or free agent to the Texans. He got the workload, and he wasn't very good. I think Pollard's in the same boat. He's proven it. His yards per carry is way down. He's not explosive. The Dallas offense has been solid enough. I don't think Pollard can handle a workload. But that being said, he does get a workload. So for fantasy purposes, he's got an opportunity every week. The problem is he gets Philly. Philly allows the fewest points to running backs this year. This is a hard pass for me. This is a Dak week again. I know we got a bunch of Dak haters in this league. Look, Dak puts up points. Like, you can feel how you want about him, but he's been solid for several weeks. If Dallas has a chance versus Philly, it ain't through the running game. So I do not like Pollard this week. We are moving on to Max's side. A.J. Dillon, Gus Bus. A.J. to this point is pretty clearly not good. He is about as average as an Uggs girl ordering pumpkin spice lattes. I mean, the guy just is as basic gets. That combined with the fact that Aaron Jones is coming back, I just really do not expect much here. I might actually start Hubbard as the running back if I were making these decisions and look for a free agent wide receiver, or flex. I just don't trust AJ at all. I think it's going to go to Dillon or to Jones. If I have to make an argument for Dillon, like I said earlier, Love has not looked good, and I think that Green Bay is going to try to run the ball, but I just see that going through Jones. So with the 21-point implied point total, I don't know. Like I said, I think I'd look elsewhere. Gus Bus is questionable, and I think that's a big deal for Max. Gus Bus has been the man the past couple weeks. It has gone through him. So maybe Hubbard ends up having to start here, but assuming he plays, that would be a big deal because he is on a heater. So back-to-back 20-point weeks, Baltimore is clearly running their offense through the running game again, which, hey, remember when I said that would happen, like exactly that in the preseason, and I didn't buy into Lamar throwing the rock around 50 times because OBJ wasn't that good. So, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much come to fruition. They're just doing what they always do, which means these running backs should be okay. So I trust the Gus Bus more than probably most do, certainly more than Yahoo does. I think they have him forecast for like 8 points. Like, that's just silly. If he plays, he is easily scoring 10. So I'm going to give the edge. I don't know. I think Max has a bigger downside. Like, I think he could definitely have two running backs scored, almost nothing. But I think he also has the much bigger upside. So I'm going to go with Max. I think he gets it done this week. I just like the upside of his running backs better. However, we're going to move on to wide receivers. Chad has London versus Minnesota, Garrett Wilson versus the Chargers, and Devontae Adams versus the Giants. Max has Rondell Moore versus Cleveland. He's also got Keenan Allen versus the Jets and Wandell versus Vegas. All right, we'll start off with Chad. All right, London, he's not been dependable by any means, but he is a quarterback stack with his quarterbacks. So I think that London's going to be okay, but I think I'll just call this a wash because he is questionable, which means Tank Dell might have to start. So I don't know. Well, like I said, we'll just call this average, just league average. I don't think either is that great or that poor, but moving on. Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson got super downgraded in the preseason, for obvious reasons with Aaron Rodgers going down, but he has proven to be a great target for a young quarterback, which is what we thought he would be. We thought he'd be elite. So with a bad young quarterback, he still seems to be 13 to 15 points every single week. So combine that with the fact that he is starting Garrett Wilson against Zach Wilson. That means that Garrett Wilson will siphon some points away from Zach. Sometimes that doesn't work in the advantage of the team with the wide receiver because the quarterback could throw to multiple receivers. But let's be real. Who is Zach throwing to besides Garrett? Nobody. There is nobody on this team that is catching the ball besides Garrett Wilson. I guess it's possible that Zach ends up with fewer points, or Garrett Wilson ends up with fewer points than Zach Wilson, but I don't think it's going to be by much. So, I think this is a good kind of cancel out type thing for Chad. Now let's move on to the big dog, Devontae. That's right, Devontae Adams is now a tanked upper. You got to change your name, Chad. So Devontae Adams takes the place of Mahomes. Look, you might lose the trade, but Adams going to eat this week. I'm a rookie offensive coordinator. I'm Aiden Connell, rookie quarterback. Dude, there is no way that Devontae Adams walks out of this game without at least 15 looks. And you give Devontae 15 looks, he is going to have a big week. Even if he does not have a touchdown, he'll get 8, 9, 10 catches. Like, he is going to eat. I think this is a big week for you. I think he's a big advantage. Look, as far as Max, there's not much analysis needed here. I mean, look, Max, I know you got Debo out, but Rondale and Wandale, that's who you're starting? The Dale brothers? Look, those guys aren't the Marx brothers, all right? This ain't Marino throwing to Duper and Clayton. The Wandale brothers, they are not going to get it done. That group is bad. You need to trade. You need to go to a waiver wire. I don't know what you need to do, but they are not good. So I really wanted to pick Max. I think Max has a chance. I just think these wide receivers are just really in Chad's advantage. I'm going to take Chad, but Max, I want to pick you, buddy. Make some moves before Sunday. Make some free agent moves or something. I think you got a shot here, and I think a 2-win team, you need to get something going. So we will see how the rest of the week progresses after several trades this week. I am happy to say that we still have an active league and enjoying that. But that is the preview for the week. My Stone Cold lock is going to be Chad, but let me leave you with this. Happy holiday, boys. Put up those lights.